Hi, in this tutorial I will explain the compression model as an example of an application of a linear transformation on images. So and I will use as an example the JPEG standard, and I will outline 6 of the main steps that they follow in the compression model. But one of the steps that is really important, and that's the one that I consider that is perfect for the explanation of manipulating the image, is using a linear transformation. So we just have a previous lecture about linear transformations, and this model uses a linear transformation that is called DCT, discrete cosine transform, that we can have that in Scilab, and we can use it. So the idea of this is that we apply the DC transform into the image or the matrix, we get that X, and then we get in a matrix that usually gets what we call the energy is concentrated in one area of the matrix, and in the other that has less energy has more zeros, and we will find a ways of storing the information ignoring the zeros. So let's say, and I will give you a short example soon, but the point is, if we do the transformation into something else that is not an image and we leave it like that, then it's going to be useless. We're going to use this for the purpose, for example, of storing the image or manipulating the image with less data. But the good about the transformation is that it has an inverse. So this is the inverse. The inverse means I will get the image back, okay, because this is what I want to see, I want to visualize. So this is the nice part. So we can do the transformation, we can work with less data, and then once we're done, we do the inverse. So now let's talk a little more about the discrete transformation. Let's suppose that I have an image that looks like this. That this is, I know I don't have negatives, but let's just have this as a possible example. This is my image. If I apply the DCT transform, if you go into Scilab and you do the DCTI on this data, you will get something that looks like this. And I was saying that the idea of the DCT is that it's concentrating the energy on the upper left corner of the matrix. So what it means is more values are concentrated over here, and then in this lower corner of the matrix is what they say that we have less energy or more zeros. So this is what I get when I do the transformation. Then if I apply an additional step of maybe rounding, or I have another matrix that, since I know that it's going to be some large numbers in this corner, and maybe I have some other elements like dividing this by 16, by 14, by, I don't know, by 4. If I have predefined some numbers that I will use to divide certain areas of the matrix, then I can get smaller numbers, and then I will use some type of arrangements to store this information and say, okay, don't store the zeros. So in that case, if I do that, and then maybe I do some rounding, then maybe I will get only these 5 numbers, and these numbers I don't need to store. If you compare here with the original image, I have 4, this is a 4 by 4, I got 16 numbers that I need to store and manipulate. If I do this and I work with these numbers, then maybe I'm going to have just 5 numbers. So you see, it's about 25% of the data. So that's what we say we're compressing, we're using less data, less numbers to work with the same image. Now again, this is the image. If I visualize this is not the image that I want to see, right? So this is also a nice experiment, because usually this is what we call a lossy transformation, because of the procedure that we do is that we do the transformation, then sometimes we do some rounding, and then by doing the rounding we're losing some information, and when I do the inverse and I round again, usually I don't get the same image. Maybe I get something that changes, maybe this changes to an 8, maybe this changes to 3, but when you see the image overall, the eye doesn't see or doesn't perceive the difference in the image. So this is something good, that maybe we're gonna have some changes on the intensity value, but it still is gonna look the same type of image. For this specific example, I did the experiment and I got the same identical image. So like for example, by rounding, you got here 16, negative 13, and this is a negative 1, and numbers that I can manipulate. But okay, this is the idea of the DC transformation. This is the image, I apply that, Look at how I got that many zeros. So let's go into the main steps that the JPAC standard does. It says, okay, well, they first talk about normalizing. So they're not using the transformation. They said, oh, maybe we got those 3 layers of numbers and matrices. Remember the RGB model. And then here we got numbers between 0 and 255. What they say normalizing is that they subtract 128 and get a range from negative 128 to 127. And they extract blocks of A by A, or metrics of A by A from each one of the blocks. So they get into the transformation using this. On step number 2, they apply a linear transformation, which is the DCT over the data. Let's say that we get that X. Again, if we want to do the inverse, this is what we will do to get the image back. But we're not doing that now. Because once we compress and we store the image, we will have to follow the steps in inverse order to get back to the original image, right? So on step number 2, we do the transformation, and now we call this that we got a YUB. So we got that image, we got this that came from transforming the image, and here the values will be between 0 and 7 from the indexes, because remember we're getting a block of A by A, right? So here we're gonna call index 0 to 7, 0 to 7, and so on. So step number 3 is the quantization step, in which we have a matrix or a table that will help us with the compression of the image. Remember that I said that when we had this, if we want to further compress, maybe we have an additional matrix that is going to help us to divide the expected large numbers that we're going to have in that corner, so we don't have that many numbers there that are big. And then on the next step, once we have that matrix, we're going to store the information in a zigzag, and I'm going to explain that with a specific example into a vector. And then in that vector I'm going to list some of the zeros, so I'm going to have what we're going to call a SC block, in which we will have just information on where is the non-zeros located. This is with the compress. And then there is another step that they call entropy coding, that we won't go into the details about that, but I'm just going to explain some of the steps now. These are the main things. One of the main things that I see there is the application of a linear transformation. Okay, so here I have an example. So now I have an image defined by this. Some of you noticed that got confused when I talk about an image as a function. So remember, x and y represents location. So if I say that this size of the image is a 4x4, so then we're talking a 4x4 matrix, and in this case I'm using index 0 and 0 just to go with the model that they have in the JPAC. Remember that in Scilab or matrices we actually start with the 1 1, but this is just a way of arranging the indexes. So if this is the location 0 and 0, what you do for that image, then you plug the 0 and 0, and then you get a negative 1. For this is the 0 and 1, and then you do the substitution of the values of x and the values of y. So these are my x's, and these are the y's that I have, and then you just do the substitution and you get those numbers. So it's easier to talk sometimes about an image represented by a function, and then if I want a specific value of that, I just plug the corresponding. So in this example I have that image, and I have the quantization. I think that's how we call it on step number 3, the matrix that we want to have. This is my 4x4 matrix. These are tens that we would use for my example. So I will start with step number 2. So step number 1, remember, was normalization. We got that image, we got that. Let's assume that this is what I want to compact. So on step number 1, we're supposed to do the DCT over the image. For example, to make this example easy, I just want to say that, let's say that the DCT the actual answer is this. This is the matrix that I'm using. This is actually DCT, but I'm not doing this now because I don't want to take more time for that. So let's suppose that I apply the DCT using the information, and then I got something like is the same image. And then we do step 3, which is the quantization. So what it means is each pixel from here is going to be divided with a pixel from, or a number from here. So -1 is going to be divided by 4, 0 is going to be divided by 4, this position, 3 is going to be divided by 3, 8 is going to be divided by 2, 0 is going to be divided by 1, and those answers are placed here, and then we do the rounding. So if I go back over here, this is the image, you do the DCT, you got some type of quantum matrix to do the division, right? And so this is what we have. And then the next part, once we do the rounding, I get something like this, which is the just after rounding I get these numbers, and this is what we call the zigzag matrix. So I just have here highlighted how is that we're gonna go over this matrix, and this is what we're gonna do. So here is just an example. If I do the inverse of the YQ, what is it that I will get? But okay, so this is what's doing the inverse. So now we're following the compression from here. After doing the DCT and the quantization, I do the zigzag. From the zigzag, this is the one that will help me to order in step number 4 the numbers. So look at that, I got 3 zeros here. It comes from here. This is a 0, 0, 0, and then 1, 1, 1. So it's 3 zeros, 3 ones, and after the ones is the 4. So in the compression model, going back to the original image, you got those numbers, you round, and then you do the zigzag, because we are expecting to get numbers from this corner, and we're expecting that the end of the vector is going to have a lot of zeros, which in this example will be perfect. So if once I do the zigzag, I get this, and then this is the arrangement of the same numbers. So these are still the 16 numbers, right? So now what I say here on step number 5 is, where is it that I don't have these zeros? So here I got 1, 2, 3. So after 3, I got a 1. So this is the first one over here, and then it says, then one more is another one. So this is telling me about the space, and then one more is a 1, and then one next is a 4, and then I move one more, and then I have, after the 2 4s, I got a 2. And then after the 2, move 3 spaces, 1, 2, and 3, and I get a 5. 1 space, and I get a 5. 1, and I get a 10. 1, and 1. So in an ideal model, I will have a lot of zeros here. So I will end up by saying 0, 0. That means the rest are zeros. But this is kind of illustrating, and then after that we do further entropy coding. But this illustrates the main thing about the linear transformation. Let me just give you a quick example on this exercise of doing the inverse. Let's say that I have what I call the SC block, which is this. Let's suppose that I have a SC block that looks like this, and it comes from a 4x4 matrix. So just following these numbers, and then it says use the same QU matrix that in the previous example. Just following this matrix, it says on the position, without going any further, is an 8. So this is an 8, and then one space, and then there is a 2, there is a 2, and then 3 spaces, there is a 1. So we go 1, 2, 3, and then there is a 1, and then it says 6, and then there is a 3. So there is after the ones was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we got the 3, and then 3 more, and I got another 3. 1, 2, 3, and there is a 3. And look at that, I got 2 zeros. That means the rest are zeros. And because I know it's 4x4, I know I got 16 spaces. Then I do the inverse of the zigzag. I have here the explanation of the zigzags and a 4x4. This should be the order. So I got the indexes here, 0 to 15. Here will be the index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we just plot the numbers back, and this is what we get. And then I do the inverse of the quantization matrix, which is this. So in this position we multiply, so you see it's going to be 8 times 4, it's going to be a 32. 2 times 4 is going to be 8. And I fill in the others are just ones, but the last row are tens. So when I multiply this by ones, I still get ones, and this by 10, I get this 30. And this will be the data that I have. After that, we do the inverse of the DCT, and then we can get the image back. But look at how the information for that image was stored right here. So this is the part that makes, I think, this topic amazing, that we have this and how this can be transformed into an image, or an image transformed into something that looks